Hey there, today I'm going to show you the best way to clean survey data from any survey software. I'm Tyler Levin, founder of VizualSurvey, a survey data cleaning tool that cleans your survey data from any survey software so you can visualize it in any of our Tableau, Power BI, Spotfire, or ClickSense pre-built dashboards quickly. All right, so here we're going to go over some of the main problems you get when you're trying to visualize or analyze survey data from any of the popular survey tools, Qualtrics, Question Pro, SurveyMonkey, Survey Gizmo. All of them have problems whenever the data comes out of those tools. Some of the main problems is first of all, each survey software outputs data slightly different than all the other ones, and they don't keep you in mind when you're trying to do analysis and put this data into other BI or data visualization tools. For example, right now we're looking at some data outputted by Google Forms. For some reason, Google Forms does not export respondent IDs, which is needed to count distinct respondents. So we're going to have to add a respondent ID column here. They also put multiple choice questions all in one column. So this number 7 here is a multiple choice questions, and you see that this person answered 4 different answers, but they all are in one column, just separated by a comma delimiter, which causes a problem. So we're going to have to account for that. Also, the matrix questions has the question here in the header, and then whatever was in the rows also in the header, and then the answer or the cell right here is what's in the columns, which is a little slightly different from other tools. And to give you another example, we have some data from a SurveyMonkey. SurveyMonkey has a double header thing going on, which is not ideal for us, so we have to account for that. Also, they have the multiple choice is in different columns compared to in Google Forms, where everything is in one column and separated by delimiters. And then they also have some different caveat things like other specify options, which is like an additional column for another question. And these are all kind of different things in different survey softwares that you have problems with. But once you learn kind of the ins and out of whatever survey software you're using, which is Qualtrics or SurveyMonkey or Question Pro, then it's kind of the same thing over and over. So you just got to learn it once if you're going to be getting survey data from the same survey tool. All right. Another thing is depending on the question type, the structure of the output is going to be different in the rows and columns. And what I mean by that is, for example, like single response, like what is your gender? You get one answer, right? For let's say numeric types, you get a numeric value instead of a text. Or for matrix, you get in this example, you get multiple columns for each row that was in that matrix. This example, you got multiple choice, you get one column, but we really got to separate all of these into multiple columns because it's the best way to do it for analyzing the multiple choice. So depending on what the question type is, the structure of that question could be different. So that gives us another problem. Another thing is just the general output of survey data from the survey tools is not optimal for putting that data in a BI tool or data visualization tool. So that entire data set needs to be restructured or pivoted in this example. And then we need some supporting columns that we're going to have to put in there to help us along with analyzing and visualizing this data. All right, so there's a lot of different problems that come from getting data out of survey tools that we need to account for. Now there are some tools that can help us do this. I'm going to show you how to do this manually in Excel, which is kind of very dirty and tedious, and it's not an automated way. Our tool, VizualSurvey, automates this entire process that I'm about to show you, as well as does a lot more. And then once you're done with this entire process in VizualSurvey, you can download one of our pre-built dashboards, and you don't even have to create a dashboard. So we walk you through and automate this entire process, as well as create the dashboard for you. So go ahead and take a look at that. If you want to do it a little more manual, you can use Tableau Prep or Qualtrics to create your own workflow. That's still a manual workflow, but at least you can automate it compared to what we're going to do in Excel, which is manually do it, which you can't automate this. But this does give you the kind of concepts of what we're doing behind the scenes. Okay, so if you get the concepts of this, then you can do it in any tool. All right, so for this video, we are going to go through an entire data cleaning, data prep process for this Google Forms survey that we conducted, so that you can see what the kind of the beginning to end is, the methods that we use, why we use it, and then I'm going to throw that final data set into Tableau real quick, just so you can see how we actually analyze that and visualize that. All right, so here is our Google Forms. We have a timestamp, which is just generated from Google Forms. What's your name, your gender, zip code, when did you start using it, how likely are you to recommend it. Here's a matrix question, whether you use these features available in the software. And then we have a multiple choice question. All right. So first thing we want to do is we want to first, export this data out from Google Forms and get it in Excel. Then we want to delete any columns that we don't want, because anything extra is just extra work. So for example, I'm not going to be using this timestamp, so I'm going to delete this. Next thing you want to do is make sure you have a responded ID column out. Most survey softwares do, Google Forms don't, so I'm just going to create one real quick, and it just has to be a distinct number, so that we can count distinct IDs. All right, so I'm just going to do that and then fill that through. All right, so we got a respondent ID, so we count that later on. Next thing we want to do is in this situation in Google Forms, our multiple choice question answers are all in one column, which is not good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight this column and go to data, text to columns, delimited, comma, and finish. Now, Google Forms does this. Like I said, SurveyMonkey has it already split out, so you don't have to worry about it. Other softwares have it split out more than likely. So this is kind of depending on your survey software. Okay. So you see it gave me a new column for each one of those answers. All I'm gonna do here is now copy this header going across, just so I make sure I got a header for each one. And it's fine that it's the same name. Okay. We'll deal with that later. All right, next thing you want to do is download a Tableau extension. Here, I already have it downloaded. You see here I have a little Tableau add-on right here. I will put the link in the article or down below in the video so that you can download that. And that's going to be used to help reshape our data for us, okay? Now, at this point, we need to reshape our data. But before we do that, I'm going to make I call it a crosswalk. Some people call it a helper file. In order to do that, I just want to copy all of my headers going across, except my respondent ID. All right, so I'm going to copy that. I'm going to add a new sheet. And I'm going to go to paste, and I'm going to do transpose because I want it going down. All right, I'm also going to take off a wrap text, and I'm going to give it a little, give it an extra row so I can put a header. So we'll call this questions. All right, so I start this, I call this my crosswalk, and you'll see why I'm doing this in just a second. All right, so let me go back to my original data set. Now using this Tableau plugin or add-on, I'm going to go right here under the first answer. So you got a respondent ID, you have your first question, and we're going to click right here in the cell, which is the first answer of the first question. Then we go to our Tableau add-on, and we're going to go to reshape. Now, the reason we're doing this is because we are going to standardize this data. We are going to first pivot this so that we're going to have 3 core columns. We're going to have respondent ID, we're going to have question, and we're going to have answer. Okay, these are the 3 core columns that we need. We're going to add additional columns via our crosswalk, doing a Vlookup, but these are the 3 core columns that are needed. Okay, from here we are going to count respondent ID when we go to the dashboard to get distinct counts for each question, for each answer. Okay. But right now it's kind of hard and messy to do this. So we're going to be creating this crosswalk to give us some additional columns to help us out. All right, so let's go back to our crosswalk now. All right, so we already have questions, right? So this is all of the individual column names that we had. Okay, we're going to add a few additional ones called question number, final question text, question type, and matrix row because we have a matrix question. Now, just to give you a kind of high level, we have matrix number, which we're going to give each of these columns a question number, which in Google Forms is kind of great because they already have it here for us. So we're just going to copy that over. But the main thing for this is, as you see, certain question types, for example, this matrix and this multiple choice has multiple columns associated with just one question. So we just need to make sure we're grouping these together in the same question number. So if it's one column, they're just going to get one question, right? So like here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now there's 6. 6 is associated with multiple columns. So we just need to give all of these 6 so that we can group these all together. Same thing with 7. We need to give all of these 7 so that we can group all of these together. Okay, so this is really key. The next thing is the final question text. So this, for example, whether you use these features available in this software, graphical presentation, right? That's not really what the question was. This is giving us the rows of our matrix question, but what the final question text with the actual user saw was that, right? So here we can kind of clean it up. Also, your name, probably something more like, what is your name? It was asked, right? So this is going to be what the final question text is. Right, if it's nice and clean, then you don't have to worry about it. These have numbers in front of it, so I'm going to copy and paste everything but the numbers, and I'm going to do that for all of them. Now you have to do this for every single question number, right? So these are all the same, right? Because it's all the same question number. Once we get to 6, we're gonna just get this part, which is just the question that was really asked. And that's going to be the same thing for all of these, all of number 6. Okay, so this question number defines our question. Per our question number, all of this information is going to be the same, other than in this matrix row, which is going to be these individual answers, which were shown in the row, which will make more sense in a little bit. Okay, so this last one, same concept, all going to be what makes you continue to use this software. All right, so this is going to be our final question text that's going to show. All right, question type is really important. All right, your name is a text box. Now, it doesn't matter what you put right here. It just matters that each of the question types have a different name, because once we get into the dashboard, from any survey software, all of the question types are structured exactly the same. So text box, you get one column, you get a free entry, right? You write whatever you want. Gender, and this is a single response. All single response has one column, you select one answer. Matrix has multiple columns. Within the columns, the end of it is what's in the rows. And then what the answer is what's in the columns. Okay, so for every survey software, the question type is really what defines what chart you're going to use. You can use the same chart for every single question type. Okay, so you can use the same chart for every single question that has the same question type. So the question type is very important. All right, so your name is a text box. What is your gender? That was a single response, and I know all this because I programmed the survey, so you should know it also. What's your zip code? I call this just a zip code question type. I want to show a map for that. So that's going to be a different question type because I need it to be distinct compared to the other ones. How likely are you to recommend? This is numeric. Right, I'm going to treat this one different. So each of these question types are going to have a different chart. For example, this is going to be just a list of all the names. This one's going to be a bar chart. The zip code is going to be a map. A numeric can be an average, median, all that stuff. A matrix is going to be a matrix or Likert score scale. And then the multiple choice is probably going to be a bar chart too. Okay, so depending on what the question type is, that is what the chart is going to be. So question type is associated with chart type. Okay, same concept. Chart type, question type, doesn't matter. Okay, so this was actually, so when did you start your date? That's actually a date. The next one is the numeric. This one here is a matrix, and it's the same thing for all of these. And the last one is multiple choice. All right, and copy that all the way down. Okay, so question type associated with our chart type. All right, last one, matrix row, which helps us with the matrix, is this last ending part. That's what's in the rows of our matrix. Our answers in our columns. So copy this, graphical presentation, and drop it in there. Database integration. And the good thing about this is with this crosswalk, we're only doing this once. In the crosswalk, we're going to VLOOKUP this inside of that other tab that we had. And we only got to do it once. Okay. So now let's go ahead and go back. Before we do that, I want to copy these column names. Copy that there. And we're going to do a simple VLOOKUP. So we're going to be looking for our question. All right, and I'm going to absolute it on my columns. I'm going to go back to my crosswalk. It's going to be looking at that question text. That's why we put that there. And I'm absolute this entire thing. And I want to look at the second column. And I want it to be an exact match. All right, so I brought my question number over. So bring this. I'm going to go in here, and then I'm going to change this one because I want it to look at the third column, which has my question text. This one is going to look at the fourth, which has my question type. And this one is going to look at the fifth if it has a matrix row. If it doesn't, it just has a 0 here, which doesn't matter. Okay. And then we're just going to fill this down. Perfect. All right, so this is a very basic way of getting some clean data, but this structure is perfect for what we're trying to do, okay? Now, like I said, we only did a couple of question types, a couple of questions. It gets a lot more complicated, but this is the basis. So we save this. Now I'm gonna pull up Tableau. I already have this Excel connected, and let's go ahead and show what this is. So this is all the columns, right? First thing we need to do is we need to create a new field called respondents, which is a distinct count of respondent ID. All right, in Tableau that is a count D, but it's just a distinct count of the respondent ID. Okay, which is why we needed that respondent ID. All right, so now let's go ahead and just throw out question number. See all of our question numbers, what the question type was. I want to see what my final question text was, what my answers are, and I want to see the respondent count. All right. So now I'm just going to go and show this, and I'm just going to start flipping through my different ones. So this one is question 1. This is a text box. You see, it just has all of the people answered or all the people's names with this, right? So this would probably be just a list. So you'll make a sheet, which would be the text box sheet. You'll say filters. This is only going to be for the question type text. And then you can switch through all your text box questions. All right. Next one would be single response. You can do another sheet, single response as the question type filter, and this can be a bar chart, right? Here we got a zip code. You make a new sheet with zip code. You can do a substring. Just grab the left 5, which will be a zip code. This is all United States zip codes. And then you could do a map, and this will be a map for all zip codes. Date. This can be another sheet. Filter this to just the question type date, and then make a line chart or area chart where you can see dates. Okay. All right. Now we get into the numeric. You do averages here and medians and all that good stuff. All right. Now we get to the matrix. Matrix is the only one that's a little different. All right. So remember we did that matrix row. So what we can do is we put the matrix row here. We can put the answers up here. And now we get a simple matrix. We see what we had in the rows in the surveys and what it says here. We had extremely, we can just switch the order, very likely, somewhat, not so, and not applicable. All right. So that's why we did that matrix row, so we can get a nice clean matrix row and answers here. All right. So what I do is like I said, I do text box, for example. And I say, all right, I just want text box. And then I make my text box chart, and then I flip through all the questions that have a text box question type. And then I say, all right, single response. And then say, all right, filters, only single response here. Make maybe a bar chart. And then I can just flip through all of my questions that are single response. So each question type is going to have a chart type, or each question type is going to have a specific tab with a chart. And then you can flip through however many questions you had for that question type. All right, and that's a real easy way of getting going. I'm showing you in Tableau. You could do this in any other software. We did this in Tableau, Power BI, Spotfire, ClickSense. So you can do this in anything, and you can use the same process no matter what software you use. Now, everything we talked about today is built into VizualSurvey, so you don't have to do any of this from scratch. You don't even have to learn the basis of this. You just import your data, follow all the steps, and the survey data will be cleaned perfectly so that you can use one of our pre-built dashboards, or you can create your own from scratch, but you don't have to clean the data at all. Now, what you see here is an empty Tableau dashboard, but we have ones that are built out and ready for you. You literally just upload your data and you have a dashboard without having to do any work or knowing any Tableau. All right, if you want to try that out, you can use a free trial by using the link below. Otherwise, we'll be creating some more videos on how to analyze and visualize survey data. All right, well, nice talking to you. I'll see you in the next video.